Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Gemma and today I'm going to be sharing with you my journey from being a teacher to becoming an online business owner and entrepreneur. Many people ask why I made this transition, but today I'm actually going to be talking about how I made the change and the steps that I took to sort of make that change from being a full-time teacher to being a nearly full-time online business owner. I've also put together a free guide that outlines how you can get your business, an online business, up and running in just 7 days. So if you think you would find that useful, you can actually get the link to that in the description below and it's free. So in today's video, we're actually going to be looking at 5 different steps that we're going to go through so that you can use those to make your change from being a full-time teacher to eventually being a full-time business owner. And specifically, I'm going to be kind of talking about being an online business owner, but these tips you can apply to being just a normal business owner, not necessarily online. So the first step that I did was I looked at my financial situation. So I kind of looked at all my bills, my outgoings, what I would need to earn monthly to make sure, that I needed to cover all my outgoings. So I also cut back on things that I maybe didn't really need. So things like subscriptions, maybe money that was put aside for going out for meals, things like that, and sort of made little changes just so that I wasn't going to be having as much pressure on myself financially when I decided to start making the change from being a full-time teacher to an online business owner. You can also obviously put aside some money if you're able to. I've read somewhere that you can, if you put aside sort of 6 months worth of savings, obviously that might not be doable for some people, but even if you can put aside a couple of months, 3 months, just whatever you can manage, that will obviously give you a little bit of a cushion just in case, things are a little bit slower to keep going, and it gives you that little bit of a financial safety net. However, the 5 steps that I'm going to be talking about in this video, you don't really need to have that much savings, because the steps that I'm going to be looking at are sort of making that change from being a teacher to being an online business owner gradually. So you shouldn't really need as much of a financial safety net, but obviously it just depends on what you prefer. So your next step to making the change from being a full-time teacher to a full-time business owner is to decide what your business is actually going to be about. So usually there's 2 different types of businesses. You could be either providing people with a product, so maybe something that you're going to sell, maybe something you're going to make and sell, or a service. So what I did when I decided that I wanted to make the change from being a full-time teacher is I started off opening a Teachers Pay Teachers store, which is where I sold teaching resources and lessons and things that I created, and I sold these online. Obviously that's just the way, the thing that I chose. That's what I decided to kind of start making my business with, and as time's gone on I've actually added things to that, so that's not all that I do. Obviously you can decide to maybe use a hobby or another skill that you've got and make products from that, or sell services from that. So ideas that you could actually have for a business are things like, you could be building obviously things like a YouTube channel or a blogging if you want to be more of a content creator. You could even go down the freelancing route, so providing different services and things to other businesses using your skills that you've maybe got from teaching, or maybe skills if you've got skills from a previous degree or from previous jobs that you've done. So all of those things obviously you could then create and put into a business. So once you've decided on what your business is going to be, what kind of product or service you're going to sell, start off small. So the idea would be to start your business while still teaching at the same time. So start off small, maybe work on your business in the evenings or at the weekends, just whenever you can manage, just to kind of test the waters out, just to see how how successful your business is, and obviously see if your product or service is actually a good idea. So step 3 in making the change from being a full-time teacher to being an online business owner is to consider taking on an extra or an additional income stream. So this could be something that you could manage alongside teaching full-time as well as building your business. Now I know this sounds a lot, but something like tutoring, which you can fit in, after school, potentially in the evenings or at the weekends, or even some sort of freelance work. So things where you can actually use your skills or any knowledge that you've got from previous jobs or previous degrees and things like that to help other businesses. And it means then that you can take on work when you can, when you've got a little bit extra time, and it'll then give you a little bit of an extra income, so that you can then, it will really help when you start to make the transition from being a full-time teacher to then working on your business more and more, and it'll give you that flexibility as well as that little bit of extra income. So going back to what I mentioned about looking for some freelance work for a little bit of an extra income, bit of a bonus tip is that Upwork is actually a really good place to look for these types of jobs. And I was actually quite surprised to find that on Upwork there's a lot of companies, organisations worldwide that look for skills that teachers have. So they're specifically looking for people that have got experience of writing curriculums, editing curriculums, looking at lesson planning, course planning, all the skills that you would normally use on a day-to-day being a teacher. So obviously it doesn't just mean it's not just aimed at children. A lot of the time it's aimed at maybe teenagers or even adults, but these skills are actually really, really valuable to companies. So if you are looking for an extra income, Upwork is an excellent place to sort of look for these types of jobs that, you'd be doing these types of things day to day in your normal teaching job. So you can easily transfer these skills from your, teaching children in your classroom and things to sort of other educational or curriculum development type jobs. And as I said before, it's really flexible. You can decide when you've got the time, when you've got the flexibility to take on these more jobs. Obviously we're quite lucky that we have the summer holidays, so that's actually a really, really good time to sort of really maximize your summer holidays to try and make a little bit extra income that you can then stash away and use that for when you want to begin building your business. So step 4 in making the change from being a full-time teacher to an online business owner would be when you start to reduce your teaching hours. So you can actually do this in a couple of different ways. You can either change from being a full-time teacher to changing your hours so that you've got part-time hours. So this could be changing your contracts, maybe even taking on a different job in a different school, or even if you're able just to reduce your hours so you're part-time, that might work. Another option would be to go from being a full-time teacher to being a supply or substitute teacher. Obviously, this will depend on how much demand there is for supply teachers in your area or in your school, so you can decide which option is best for you. Obviously, while you're reducing your teaching hours, you would also still be doing your whatever job you've decided for your other income stream. So whether it's tutoring or freelance and whatever you decided, you would also be still doing this at the same time so that you still are making an income and keeping yourself financially stable. So our next step, step 5 of making our change from being a full-time teacher to an online business owner, is to gradually increase the amount of time that you're spending on your online business. So as time goes on, you would obviously be reducing your teaching hours, start to reduce your hours doing your additional income stream, whether it was maybe tutoring or freelance work, whatever you decided it was, and then begin to spend more time and commit more time to working on your own business. So that sums up my 5 steps from making the change from being a full-time teacher to becoming an online business owner. So if you found this video useful, and if you think you'd like some more tips on making the change from being a full-time teacher to an online business owner or entrepreneur, please make sure to like the video, and you can even subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this. I'll see you next time.